with all my heart, and I'm sorry if I'm mean and nasty all the time.
I love you, honey.
Love you.
The legal smackdown that played out for nearly 2 years between Linda and Hulk Hogan is finally over.
These videos are not for children. If you're a children, then piss off.
Hey there, it's me, your least favorite YouTuber, Infuso. And for all you wrestling fans out there complaining that I don't make wrestling videos anymore, I'm getting real sick of your shit, which is why I'm here today to prove you all wrong. Ish. I'm going to be taking a look back at the often overlooked, old school reality TV show, Hogan Knows Best. Yeah, take a hike, Crisley. And if you don't know who Hulk Hogan is, well, it's no big deal. He's just undoubtedly the biggest name in all of professional wrestling history, so there you go. Man won the world title in almost every company he ever stepped foot in, slammed Andre the Giant at WrestleMania 3, became the self-proclaimed godfather of the NWO, and has had one of the most legendary and illustrious careers of all time, having a tenure in wrestling that spanned for almost 4 decades. And within that time, he's only lost about 127 matches. Look, I know that sounds like a lot, but it actually isn't. It truly is not. Especially considering that according to him, he was wrestling 400 days a year. Not really sure how that's possible, but if the Hulkster says it, then I'm sure it adds up. Even if you know nothing about wrestling, on some level you probably know who Hulk Hogan is. It's not like I'm talking about Ken Patera over here.
Yeah, I've been humiliated before. But I'm so humiliated right now, I'm afraid to turn my back. I can take pain. I can recover. I can recuperate. Oh, I'm beyond that. I am so upset.
This is the Hulkster. He's the man who fought Roddy, Rocky, and Rocky Maivia. But most importantly than any of that, he's the man who starred in this VH1 reality series. Hogan Knows Best has to be one of the most unfortunate shows in human history. Like, right down to the title.
Hogan Knows Best.
Does he, though?
There are so many instances that accidentally foreshadow the most controversial moments of the guy's life. And I'm just talking about the first 7 episodes of the show. It's like watching a 2-hour Try Not to Cringe compilation. I just feel like I could show you any clip from the show and then immediately play the Curb Your Enthusiasm theme directly after it. And it would fit perfectly. It's like the setup was made for this punchline. Like the show only exists for me to be talking about it all these years later. This show is like if In Hindsight was a TV show. Bear with me here, I'll give you an example or 12. In this show, every time we see Nick Hogan, we get to learn about his fascination and love for cars.
Coming up, Hulk Hogan's son, lucky to be alive, seriously injured after getting into a high-speed car chase, or at least his passenger was seriously injured. Details straight ahead.
On a couple of occasions, we see the marital problems between Hulk Hogan and his wife Linda.
I gave him everything that I had.
Linda Hogan sobs as she relives the betrayal she says she suffered at the hands of her ex, Hulk Hogan.
We even get an appearance from Hulk Hogan's very close friend, Bubba the Love Sponge.
The former wrestling star is suing radio personality Bubba the Love Sponge.
This would have went away if Hogan would have shut his mouth.
That was Bubba the Love Sponge reacting angrily to word of his former friend's lawsuit.
Then there's also this.
I want the chocolate one so bad.
He refers to his daughter's then-boyfriend using the N-word.
You know what, maybe that was in bad taste on my part, but I think what he said was in far worse taste, so I'm gonna go ahead and leave it in. But, you know, I'm sure not everything is awkward in hindsight, or just awkward in general. Like, look at this cute little song Brooke made about her dad.
Daddy, he is no comparison to you. Don't make me choose who I love the most. No.
Oh boy. It's one of those days, huh?
Sometimes Brooke's wardrobe is too sexy.
You see what I'm talking about here? This show was a mistake, but we wouldn't figure that out until years and years later. I feel like this series has been put in a time capsule, and I've just dug it out and I'm presenting it for all of you. And what was inside this time capsule was a warning that we're now reading after the fact. Now for this video, I'm only going to be covering the first season of the show. There are in fact 4 seasons and 43 episodes to cover overall, so be sure to let me know in the comment section below if this is something I should continue to do or I should just cut my losses here.
Brother.
In the first episode of the series, Hulk, who is normally very overprotective of his daughter, to a ridiculous degree, lets his guard down and lets her go on a date with a college student while she's still in high school. Now I know what you're thinking. V, come on, you're making it weird. They're probably actually really close in age, maybe only a year or 2 apart. Except no. No, they aren't. Brooke is 16, and this guy is 22. Look, I don't want to be a backseat parent here, but hey, Thunderlips, this isn't the time to drop your guard. This is the time to raise your fists. I mean, there's some legal and moral dilemmas facing this potential relationship. But Hogan seems more concerned with the fact that this guy may not be a virgin, as opposed to the fact that he is a man, and Brooke is a growing girl. Like, it gets brought up.
So I know Brooke is 16 years old, and I know you're 22. He's 22, and you're a child. That's against the law. And when I was 22 years old, the last thing I had on my mind was a 16-year-old girl.
But it seems like they kind of neglect that fact anyway, and their bigger issues are things that really shouldn't be that big of an issue. Nothing should be as big of an issue as this. I think the show, at the beginning of the episode, kind of frames it in such a way that we're supposed to think that Hulk is being uptight.
Dating my ass, brother.
But no! I don't say this often, but the Hulkster's right. Get this guy out of your house and away from your daughter. As a matter of fact, get him away from your son. Because the two are best friends. This college-aged man is best friends with Brooke's younger brother. Why? All is well and good until Nick tells his dad that Adam has pierced nipples, which sends the whole family to parts unknown. Y'all really concerned with what this guy's got pierced instead of fixating on the fact that he's trying to impale your 16-year-old daughter. His nipples aren't the problem here. The fact that he's best friends with your 14-year-old son and is trying to, let's be nice and say, befriend your 16-year-old daughter, that is the problem. I feel like you're not focused on the right things here. Your priorities are way out of order. So of course Hulk lets her go out on the date, and he spies on her the whole time. He actively tracks her car. Just bad all around. Don't like any of it. No, thank you. And I just want to reiterate here that everything I just said, that is the first episode of the show. The first episode. You would think that you could go nowhere but up from here, but you would be wrong. On to episode 2. I like that we're only 2 episodes into the show, and it's already run out of ideas. It has now recycled the first episode's premise into the second one. The episode that came before this was all about Brooke's dating life, or lack thereof. This episode is all about Nick's dating life. His parents seem to dislike his new girlfriend for literally no discernible reason. She seems pretty polite and treats their son well, but they hate her because Nick's spending too much time with her? They come off as 2 parents who are way too involved in their children's love lives. They keep talking about how their partners or potential partners are taking them away from the family. And yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. Aw, don't feel bummed, Hulk. We got 3 more seasons of Hogan Knows Best. Your father-son bond has got plenty of time to play out in front of the cameras. Your marriage, though, significantly less time. There's this one scene where Hulk is talking about his son's girlfriend while firing a gun.
Ashley gets in his ear at school.
And I don't like any of that. That's nope. No, thank you.
I wonder if I should have invited Ashley or something. Nah.
This is one of those famous families that you don't want to marry into. You want to run away from, should you ever encounter them. Hulk even tries to throw other women Nick's way. And when I say women, I mean women, not girls his own age, mind you. And his mother basically tries to encourage him to sleep around, just minus the sleeping around part. It's confusing. I don't even know if they understand their own logic. It's not great. The real bombshell in this episode comes when his parents find his condoms. And oh no, our son is practicing safe sex. The devastation. Look, all I'm saying is that I was his age when I lost that thing you can never find again once you've lost it. And I was definitely not being safe or precautious or particularly picky, so good for him for practicing safety. Ooh. Actually, come to think of it, that's probably another one of those unfortunate statements in hindsight. Episode 3. Brooke dreams of one day being a famous musician. There's just one thing standing in her way to success, and that's the fact that she is horribly untalented. Luckily, having the last name Hogan will still take you pretty far. But only so far. The episode shows Brooke giving it her all and trying to get in shape, even though she really already is. It sort of makes me uncomfortable seeing someone who's clearly very healthy be put through the ringer like this. Like, if you wanted to tell my fat ass to hit the treadmill, alright, you know what? You got a point. I'll do a lap. But she's not just healthy, she's already really skinny. There's absolutely nothing wrong with the way she looks. It's also in this episode that Brooke writes the creepiest song one could ever write for their father.
You want to read the lyrics to your dad now so he can see what this is about? See what this is about?
I'm gonna feel so weird singing this to him. Don't make me choose who I love the most, 'cause I can find a way to love you both. I need your arms to cover me, but not smother me. He can never be what you are to me. You're the biggest part of me. Can't I love him too?
I really want to compare this moment to something else creepy just so you get the understanding. But honestly, I think this may be the new thing I'm going to compare other creepy things to in the future. So, this is some top-notch cringe shit that I did not ask for, and I, quite frankly, would never ask for. They also end the episode holding hands, and look, I've made plenty of jokes here, and I will continue to, but I'm sure there's not any weird intent there. But like when your kid turns 5, you just stop holding the damn hand. Only because they really need to break free, both metaphorically and also physically. Don't be the parent who doesn't know when to let go, come on. Gotta say though, the highlight of this episode has to be Hogan running into a porn star that he's familiar with. And I'm not talking about Chum-Lee. Episode 4. Vinnie Mac himself calls the Hulkster to offer to induct him into the WWE Hall of Fame. And this whole episode, whether intentional or not, is just really fan service for the wrestling viewers of the show. This episode is the most uneventful out of any of them, but I think it does the job of providing the Marks with something to Leo over. And it also further explains Hulk Hogan to the common VH1 fan who maybe aren't as familiar with his work. The whole episode is filled with familiar faces and backstage interactions. It feels less like something I'd see on VH1 and more like something I'd see today on the WWE Network. There's just really a whole lot of nothing going on here. I wish I had more to say, and more importantly, I wish this episode had more to say. But I don't, and it didn't. So episode 5. The season's just begun, and already, it's almost over. And to make up for the mundane monotony of the last episode, this one starts with Nick and Brooke wrestling, as you do, when Nick literally spits in Brooke's face. Man, it's times like these that I am so thankful that me and my sister don't really get along. Thank God for that. But hey yo, real talk right now? Someone better tell Nick to check himself. The last time I saw someone spit in someone else's mouth on a VH1 show, she got snuffed right after, and then was escorted out from Flavor Flav's mansion. But they aren't the only ones in the household going toe-to-toe. Seems like there's a little thunder in paradise as the Hulkster takes on his greatest foe yet, his then soon-to-be ex-wife. In order to make things right, he decides to take her on a romantic getaway, where they can reignite a spark that has clearly in actuality already been long extinguished. So he leaves his children with Brian Knobbs. Brian Knobbs. Yeah, I don't know if I'd be so quick to leave my kids with one of the nasty boys. Especially if that nasty boy was Brian Knobbs. Basically, the whole household just reenacts the plot of Mr. Nanny. It's in this episode that we get to know that Nick is apparently Satan incarnate. I never before thought I'd feel sorry for one of the nasty boys. Especially if that nasty boy was Brian Knobbs. But man, I would put babysitting Nick Hogan right on up there with escaping the wrath of Ken Shamrock. It's also in this episode where I saw a little bit more than I bargained for with the red and yellow, but mostly orange.
No, seriously, I do not have a 10-inch. No, I do not. Seriously.
Fair enough. I don't know if there's another little Hulkster in heaven, but there's one on my TV screen and I do not like it. Episode 6. So as it turns out, the Hogan family is tough to live next door to, which really shouldn't come as a shock to any of us, as they're so hard to live with that they no longer live together. Their neighbors are sick and tired of all the noise the animals in the house make. Also, the noise coming from the hens, chickens, dogs, cats, etc., which is understandable. I know I, for one, would lose my shit if I had to record my videos next to a herd of barking dogs. I know this because I've had to before. Oh, look at those cute little faces. I can't stay mad at them. Unless, of course, I close my eyes, and now I am. Now I am again. There's a lot of drama in this episode, and Linda is definitely looking for her Oscar. Or, more accurately, her Razzie.
You're making my life miserable! You don't even care! You go home and have a cocktail! My life is a misery!
But I get where she's coming from. A pet is another addition to the family. It's hard to just say goodbye and uproot these poor animals and hand them off to someone else. I wouldn't be able to do it. Once again, look at that face. He's so cute. That's really cruel. And I totally understand what she's going through. I think her emotions are completely valid. But also in the same respect, who told you to have 9 dogs, 6 hens, and 15 sugar gliders, whatever the fuck you got? Who told you to do that? That was a choice you made. And that choice has consequences for everybody else. At first, they decide to keep some pets in a spare home they own down the street. Because, you know, everyone has a spare home that they own 10 minutes from their actual home. But they just kind of like leave them there alone. Like, I'm guessing that they have somebody come by and feed them, or maybe they do themselves, but I don't know, that still seems really neglectful. Eventually, though, they come together as a family and they figure it out. And what they figure is, hey, fuck it, we have enough money, let's just keep breaking the law and just paying the fine. Cause we can. Which, I don't know if that's a long-term solution, but hey, money solves everything apparently, so on to episode 7. The season finale. It's good to see that Hogan is really just like the rest of us. Bored. The family goes out of their way to try and entertain Hulkamania. Also, he will stop annoying them. So as they're brainstorming some ideas, that's when we learn what all of us wrestling fans have already long known.
Because, you know, he doesn't like to lose at anything.
Hey, here's an idea. If he's really bored, why don't you try and get him a reality TV show? Because it's 2004 and they're just handing them shits out like candy. The Hogan family decides to distract the head of the household with a bunch of different activities. First, they take him antiquing, where he happens to run into an old face. His own old face, to be more specific. Then they take him golfing, mainly because that's pretty much a legal requirement for retirees. You can either play golf, move to Florida, or both. I don't make the rules, I just enforce them. Those are the options you have. And it's on the golf course that Hogan makes this very strange proposition to this child.
How about you and I have a little bet on this hole that whoever loses this hole tees off with his pants down around his ankles.
Okay.
Luckily, Hogan loses, which is the lesser of 2 very terrible outcomes. But seriously, real talk, this may just very well be the most unintentionally creepy show ever made. After golf doesn't work out, they take Hulk and his buddy Bubba to play a game of tennis. Which also similarly doesn't work. And then finally they go to Pilates, which Hogan likes. And he even starts bringing his buddy Knobbs with him too. And that's where the season ends. How absolutely anticlimactic. What a way to end your first season. Pilates. Yeah, that'll get the viewers coming back.
Gonna put some butts in the seat.
That's really it. I'm not paraphrasing. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not trying to do anything for a punchline. This is the final shot of the first season. And that was the first season of Hogan Knows Best. I know I've cracked a lot of jokes here, but I actually genuinely really love this show. Just as I loved all of the VH1 reality shows. Which is why I'll be taking all of you through what I like to call the cycle of Celebreality. We're going to take a look back at all the reality shows you love and remember, and the ones you really wish you could forget. So if that seems like something you're interested in, let me know in the comment section below by saying, Patera knows best.
All of you, you're all gonna go down one by one, and I'm gonna make sure of that.
With that being said, I was your least favorite YouTuber, V Infuso, and I thank y'all for watching. Hope to see you in the next one.
Brother, I am vengeance. I am the night, and that was V Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time. Same bat channel.
I'll be back in 5 minutes.
All right, no tricks on that. Watch out for that. Where's your helmet?